All right, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about, in this section, we're going to start talking about plotting points on a rectangular coordinate system. So let's introduce the terminology and definitions. So this is what we call the rectangular coordinate plane. Okay, there's two axes. We've got the vertical axis, which is the y-axis, and we've got the horizontal axis, which is the x-axis. And these axes go off to infinity, so this is an infinite plane. And so when we want to, well, before we get into that, so different quadrants, right? So the two axes splits the rectangular plane into four quadrants. So we've got quadrant 1, and then it goes counterclockwise, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4, okay? And then we have the origin. So the origin is where the two axes intersect, so that's 0, 0. And then we're going to count how many units in each direction. So we have the y direction, right? So up is positive, down is negative, so anything below the x-axis is negative y, are negative y coordinates. Anything above the x-axis are positive y coordinates. And then likewise with the x-axis, anything to the right of the y-axis has a positive x-coordinate. Anything to the left of the y-axis will have a negative x-coordinate. Okay? So now every point in the plane is represented by what we call a coordinate pair, an ordered pair of x comma y. So the first coordinate is always the x-coordinate. The second coordinate is the y-coordinate. So it tells us how many units in the x direction and how many units in the y direction. So in other words, this point here is what? Is x units to the right, okay? And this here tells us y units up in this particular example, okay? But I could have another one, so each one of these tick marks could represent, let's say, 1 unit, right? So if I had this point right here, right, and this was 1, and this is 1, 2, 3, this would be -1, -2, -3. And so this point here would be represented by the ordered pair 1, -3, which would tell me that this point lies 1 unit to the right and 3 units down. Okay? So any point on the rectangular plane can be described uniquely by an ordered pair. So whether it's -1/3, 0, or -3, -4, or 3, 1, or 3, -1, right? Now the cool thing is the sign of each ordered pair tells you what quadrant you're in. Because if you're in the first quadrant, each ordered pair will be positive, positive. So they're both positive, right? If you're in the second quadrant, the ordered pair will be what? Negative, positive, right? Because you're going negative in the x direction, but you're up in the y direction. If you're in the third quadrant, it's going to be both negative, right? So you're negative, negative. And then if you're in the fourth quadrant, it's going to be positive, negative. Okay? So by looking at the signs of the ordered pair, you will know which quadrant you're in. For example, this is this is on one of the quadrantal on the axis, right? That's 0. So you know you're on the y-axis. You're not really in a quadrant, right? But if I went ahead and made this, let's say 3/2, right? Now I know that I'm in the second quadrant. Okay, this is both negative, so this tells me I'm in the third quadrant. These are both positive, so I'm in the first quadrant. This is positive and this is negative, which means I'm in the fourth quadrant. Okay? All right. And I think that's all, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. All right. Have a great day.